Shoemaking among primitive peoples had literally large-scale dimensions. In the cave of Lamos, Nevada, the USA, archaeologists have found a genuine warehouse of ancient shoes. 300 pairs of grass-woven sandals. Despite their more than venerable age, 9,000 years, those sandals turned out to be so beautiful and comfortable that the locals immediately began weaving exactly the same ones in order to sell to tourists. Sandals made of wormwood bark found in the Fort Rock Cave in the US state of Oregon in 1938 date back to about 7,000 years BC. In Armenia, during the excavations of the Areni Cave in September 2008, shoes were found that are over 5,500 years old. These are charok, soft shoes with pointed toes. The discovered shoes became the oldest archaeological find in Europe and Asia. According to researchers, the first shoes in the history of mankind were something like foot wraps made of bear skins insulated with dry grass. And this is not just an assumption. These are the shoes that turned out to be on the feet of Ötzi, a mummified corpse of a man who died 5,300 years ago, which was found in the Alps on the border between Austria and Italy. In ancient Egypt, the most common type of shoes were sandals made of palm leaves or papyrus, similar in shape to a stirrup. The sole, bent upwards on the toe, was attached to the foot with leather straps, one of which went across the foot and the other was attached perpendicular to it. The ancient Egyptians decorated the straps with exquisite patterns and precious stones. There were also shoes with a closed toe and an open heel, resembling modern flip-flops in appearance and purpose. In the pharaohs' temples and palace, it was customary to walk barefoot. Shoes were left outside the threshold. The ancient Jews made shoes out of leather, wool, reeds, and wood. There were 3 types of shoes known: sandals, shoes, they covered the foot until the arch, always had heels and were held on the foot with laces that were tied with a beautiful bow, and boots in which travelers and soldiers walked. Rich people's shoes were extremely luxurious, as for example small bottles of perfume were often put into the heels of shoes. Nowadays, there are a lot of varieties of footwear. They vary in seasonality, style, quality, and of course, price. What kind of shoes are produced in Kazakhstan? Let's find out in this episode of our program. Previously, all footwear were handmade only, but the establishment of manufacturing facilities has changed the situation. And today, most of the shoes available in stores are made with minimal human intervention. Nevertheless, manual labor is still highly valued. People who are used to choosing the best prefer shoes made by hand. Surprisingly, handmade shoes are not that uncommon. Such shoemaking practices are still common, especially in Italy and England. Many well-known shoe brands still prefer entrusting the manufacture of shoes not to machines but to craftspeople. Handmade branded shoes are expensive, but those who choose them know that they are worth it. Making such shoes is a painstaking and time-consuming business. Shoemakers are required to possess special skills as well as the knowledge of techniques and properties of various materials. Oftentimes, the experience is passed down from generation to generation. There are entire dynasties of shoemakers in Europe. Most often, elite shoe brands emerge from such family enterprises. The cost of handmade shoes is substantially different from the prices of manufactured shoes. However, there are a number of significant benefits of buying custom-made shoes, such as exclusivity, unsurpassed quality, and convenience. In total, there are around 25 shoe factories in Kazakhstan. More than 40 enterprises are engaged in the production of mainly special-purpose footwear in Kazakhstan. Last year, 3/4 of the total shoe production in Kazakhstan were attributed to the cities of Almaty, Shymkent, and the Zhambyl region. Nevertheless, the size of the domestic production in Kazakhstan is extremely small. At the moment, the ratio of the footwear market structure shows 96% of imported shoes and only 4% of domestically made footwear. This local enterprise offers a wide range of footwear made in Kazakhstan.
This is a cutting workshop. Here we cut leather into the details of the shoe's upper part. Here our specialist receives leather and looks for defects. Our tailors cut down the details of the shoe's upper using cutters, which we make ourselves as we have a manufacturing of cutters. Here are wonderful craftspeople who make adjustments to the work of their shops, including cutting, processing, and sewing divisions. Here we have a processing site. The cut parts are delivered to the site. Later, marking lines are applied, and our specialists process the edges of the parts so that they can be assembled into high-quality workpiece. This is our sewing area. Here, from the processed cut parts, the shoe upper is being assembled. We have a lot of wonderful seamstresses working here. Shoes go through all stages of assembly along the conveyor, and at the end we receive such a shoe. After that, it proceeds to the lasting department. At this department, our seamstresses assemble the insole using strobo. This is a strobo department where the insole is sewn to the shoe upper using the strobo machines. This is the lasting department here. This is where the shoe upper is tightened onto the lasts. Our site is fully mechanized. Highly qualified craftspeople use advanced modern equipment here. You can see how it is done. In this form, our workpiece goes to the casting area where the sole is molded and attached to the upper using the hot direct casting method.
So we have seen how shoes are made. Now it's time to tell what conditions have been created in our country for shoe manufacturers and what measures of state support are needed for the dynamic development of the industry. It is necessary to limit our market from foreign competitors so that our raw materials do not leave the country. Leather and hides should stay with us and we must process them. These materials shouldn't go beyond the borders of our country. Kazakh manufacturers are struggling to compete with imported cheap shoes at dumping prices. They cannot sell their products below the cost price either. In order to ensure equal conditions in the market and support domestic manufacturers, it is proposed not to allow imported leather shoes worth less than $20 to the Kazakh market, following the example of Turkey. The introduction of such a ban at the legislative level there had a positive impact on the development of the industry in that country. Also, as an example, we can take the experience of Uzbekistan, where import customs duties and other measures made it possible to carry out import substitutions and increase the share of domestic shoe production to 50 to 60%. Meanwhile, the import of footwear products in Kazakhstan is more than 95%. By country, this volume is distributed as follows. 60% of the footwear market in Kazakhstan is attributed to China, 20% to Turkey, 10% to Russia, and 10% to other countries, including Uzbekistan. However, our manufacturers are quite capable of supplying the domestic market with high-quality products. Expensive equipment and natural materials are available for this purpose.
Я стою возле нашего второго оборудования, так называемый DESMA.
I'm standing next to the Italian equipment, which is quite expensive. It's worth 3.5 million US dollars.
$3,5 миллиона. В обувном мире это бренд, мировой бренд. Они выпускают подошву морозоустойчивую, не допускающую скольжения даже при уклоне 45 градусов на скользкой поверхности. Не за горами у нас, значит...
It is made by a global brand known in the shoe world. They produce a frost-resistant sole that does not allow sliding even at a slope of 45 degrees on a slippery surface.
Дошли до своими мощностями.
We may be able to manufacture world-class shoes very shortly. We have a lot of frosty cold regions, therefore the requirements are quite high. We have reached the point with our capacities that we can manufacture shoes for all occasions already. The level will be quite new in terms of the production of high-quality shoes. We have our own developments, however, not on the scale we would like.
Вот стремиться к этому.
We need to strive for it, but first, to get there, we need to ensure high quality. When the quality of the design is higher, our creative processes will be different. It is what we are currently working on. We are developing new lines and hopefully within 3 years we may have a designer line of shoes in a wide range. Every enterprise should offer a wide range of products with as many shoe lines as possible. We are busy working every day.
Достаточно большой ассортимент. В данном случае, конечно, у любого предприятия должен быть ассортимент, и чем он шире, тем лучше. Идет работа ежедневно, каждодневно.
The customer sets their requirements to us. In this case, it is the Ministry of Defense. They want to see shoes that are durable, but at the same time lightweight. And it is not easy to maintain this balance.
Достаточно прочную.
Nevertheless, we are seeking ways to do it.
Кстати,
And we find a way out.
найти вот этот
We satisfy the customer's technical requirements on time as we have the equipment.
технический требования
And we certainly perform error analysis.
выполняем
The priority is to produce high-quality shoes.
прочно благодаря.
Another issue is the price.
И, естественно,
In this case, we use locally produced materials. The leather is supplied to us by the Almaty tannery. We also have our own production of natural fur for shoes.
в данном случае используем местное производство. В данном случае у нас и кожа, алматинский завод кожевенный нам поставляет. И у нас...
Of course, we have plans to produce a full cycle, both leather and shoes, in order to reduce the cost price, like all manufacturers in the world, but at the same time maintain the quality.
Для чего? Для того, чтобы, как всегда, как все производители мира...
We have an option to use faux leather, however, we do not follow such practices of using artificial materials.
Пока мы таких вещей, искусственных вещей, пока мы не придерживаемся.
In January to February of 2023, 286,000 pairs of shoes were produced in the country, which is almost 43% more than a year earlier. In the regional context, most shoes were produced in Almaty, 153,000 pairs, which is 50.4% more than in January and February of 2022. The top 3 also included the Almaty region with 48,500 pairs, and the Jambal region, where 27,900 pairs of shoes were produced.
В данном случае мы
We have gone through a very extended period of formation. Much work has been done.
работа проделана немалая.
All the business processes are streamlined.
И достаточно крупные партии мы сейчас...
We are now shipping fairly large batches to the country's Ministry of Defense and other large enterprises.
Особо не нуждалась в каком плане, потому что мы участвовали.
Advertising was not particularly needed as we participated in tenders and won.
Есть большие возможности по производству любой.
Indeed, we have large-scale capacities for the production of any types of shoes.
Есть специфические,
We are not far away from entering the market.
грубо говоря, то здесь...
There is a specific customer who buys work shoes, but there are also designer shoes that can be supplied to the market of Kazakhstan, since the country's demand is about 30 million pairs of shoes per year.
Сколько? Примерно так.
We produce under 1 million of pairs of shoes.
Рынок достаточно большой.
The market is quite large and we can compete due to high quality, environmental friendliness and price.
Экологичность и, естественно,
Drawing parallels between global work and hiking shoes and our footwear, we are superior based on a number of parameters.
Низкой там обуви, которую спецобувь, грубо говоря, провожу, мы идем практически даже по некоторым параметрам выше.
As of the end of February of 2023, footwear prices have gone up by 20.5%. Specifically, prices for men's and women's footwear increased by 18.2%, while children's footwear by 26.5%. The residents of the Mangistau region experienced the price increase the most, 31.5% in a year. Shymkent with 30.2% and Astana with 28% were also among the top three. The increase in the shoe prices primarily affects buyers as the main burden eventually falls on them. Yet manufacturers have their own issues which seem to be solved, but they have not yet found full support from the market players. The illegal footwear trade significantly restricts the development of the domestic market. According to official data, the share of counterfeit footwear is now 48.5% of the market. The shoe labeling has been introduced to combat grey imports. The draft developers claim that digital labeling allows identifying each pair of shoes and tracing it along the distribution chain without human involvement. Applying a sticker or label with a data matrix code to the product will be required before undergoing customs procedures, either at the production site in another country or at a customs warehouse on the territory of Kazakhstan. The data matrix code can be applied directly to shoes as well as to a product label or consumer packaging. The new digital label will be a sign of the legality of the products. By scanning the data matrix code using a special mobile application, consumers will be able to get full information about the product and check its legality. Importers can label shoes for Kazakhstan directly at manufacturers' factories on the territory of third countries. The unified digital labeling operator in Kazakhstan held talks with 45 foreign factories that produce shoes for Kazakhstan. Most of them have been marking shoes for the Russian market for a year and a half and are ready for similar innovations in Kazakhstan. Labeling products at the production site is the most convenient option, however, importers have also the opportunity of ordering labeling services at the customs warehouse when importing products to Kazakhstan. Customs warehouses are already actively being prepared for the innovation. On their territories, during customs procedures, stickers or labels with the data matrix digital code will be applied to products that have not been labeled at foreign manufacturing plants. On average, the costs associated with labeling for manufacturers and importers will be 0.1 to 2.5% of the cost of one pair of shoes. Meanwhile, digital labeling of goods is an international project that is being implemented at the EAEU level. The shoe industry has become one of the first to introduce mandatory digital labeling in Kazakhstan. This decision was made due to the level of counterfeiting on the market. Digital labeling of shoes will contribute to the whitewashing of the market and clearing it from counterfeit. And yet, there are at least two opinions on this issue, and so far they are absolutely opposite. Thus, lawyer Artik Seyitkaliyeva, the president of the Adal Public Association of Consumer Protection, considers the initiative of labeling shoes with control and identification marks negative for the consumer.
First of all, the law on protection of consumer rights specifies that any product must be labeled. This means that the customers have the right to receive all the necessary information about the product. Our consumers already know what they're buying. One of the main arguments for the introduction of labeling was the fight against counterfeiting. It turns out that the function of the state controlling body, the Customs Office, which is under the Ministry of Finance, is going to be performed by the entrepreneurs. And this implies additional costs as they will need to buy equipment and hire more staff. This cost will eventually be covered by our consumers.
Shoes are the most popular type of footwear that are in demand among both women and men. Women most often prefer shoes with a small heel. Such footwear is perfect for both work and walking. Shoes made of natural materials are popular, with leather being the best option. Shoes will last a long time and complement any style. Men's shoes practically do not differ in design. The difference is in the materials of manufacture and fastenings, if any. When choosing shoes for work, the shade should definitely match the suit. Sneakers are another popular footwear. These sports shoes are preferred for everyday use more and more every year. They are versatile, comfortable, and perfect for active people. Today, sneakers may be worn with any outfit, not only sporty one. Even dresses with such shoes are in fashion. With the right choice of style, shade, and design, such looks are considered to be stylish. Men choose sneakers to go with a tracksuit. Most often, these are branded designs. We wish you to always buy high-quality footwear at reasonable prices and, of course, made in Kazakhstan.